Can the Rav share what he thinks is the key for a happy and healthy marriage?
Um, Happy and healthy marriage. So there's a lot to say about this, by the way. There's a lot to say about this. It's a big question. I think, first of all, this deserves probably its own book. That's number one. Bretz Hashem one day. Also, there's an issue which is kind of interesting, which is important, is that principally, Chazal, the Mishnah says in Chagiga that Ein Dorshin B'Arayis B'Shloisha. There's something about, you don't speak about intimacy or sensitive, intimate things in public. It's important to understand this because no two relationships are the same. For various reasons. One is obviously the tznius issue, the idea of modesty, which unfortunately people don't understand what that means any longer. But the idea of modesty, but also because there's so many different types of relationships that can work. There's so many different types of paradigms of marriage, and certain cultures and certain conditionings and upbringing people have different expectations of what they're looking in a marriage. And it's not, there's no one model that you'll say, okay, this is going to work cross culturally in every single place, in every single situation. So it's very hard to speak about this. It really has to be like tailored to every individual person. But if to say a few words just about this idea of marriage and to frame it in some type of paradigm, a Torah paradigm, a spiritual higher paradigm. So you can say like this: there's in the blessing, in the bracha that we say, in the bracha of Nisuim, of the Shavuot, we say that we bless Shabara, that Hashem, the creator of Sasim v'Simcha, Gila, Rina, Ditza v'Chedva. Gila, Rina, Ditza v'Chedva is 4 expressions of joy. So there are different types of joy: external joy, internal joy, outward joy, different types of joy. Chazal say generally, Officer Menashe says that there are 10 lashonos, there's 10 descriptions of joy. So let's just say this is one category. Gila, Ditza v'Chedva. Then you have Ava, which is love. Achva, which is brotherhood. Shalom is peace. Ereus is friendship. So if you have to break it down, we can break it down into five things. So you have joy, love, brotherhood, connection, peace, and friendship. These would be the 5 descriptions that would really bless every single chassan or kala, every single person that's getting married. We bless them. They should experience this in their marriage. So we can talk about these 5 things if you wish. So that can be a little bit of model to understand how to produce really not just happy marriages, but really healthy marriages, that where there's understanding of growth and that people are together in this marriage. So joy, simcha will be the first one. To be joyous in a marriage, to be joyous in a relationship, is, I think, one of the basic ingredients is to be grateful for the other person. Because we start taking for granted the people that are in our lives. You know, someone does something for you over and over again, with a certain expectation that that's what they would do for you. It becomes routine, it becomes rut. So I think just a general thing is being grateful for the other. Always to be grateful. We spoke about this once. Grateful is not just in speaking, but in a posture of gratefulness, which is really ends up being a person becoming a little bit lighter. Joy could be, obviously joy can be a lot of things, but I think on a very simple level, joy means just a joyful home. A person's home should be joyful. Like to use humor to distill tension. certainly with children. I'm just telling you what I think. So this is my personal ideas. I think it's the way it worked. When a child comes home with a hard day, or your spouse comes home with a hard day. Now, of course, you can't make light. I'm not talking about making light, and that means you're not being there for the other person. But everything can be taken with with a little bit of sense of humor, and to bring humor into the home, to bring schoik, to bring laughter into the home is like a house has to be a house of laughter. That it should be. You want to come to this house because I have a funny thing to tell you, but I don't know if it should be online. I'll tell you later. But a house has to be a place of laughter. Laughter is like has to be lebedik. Exactly. It has to be lebedik. It has to be a happy home. Happy home is very important, and that's important. And I think part of being a happy home and trying to bring the humor is also to come into the house in a happy state. So when you're entering into your house, let's say you're hungry, for example. Never walk into your house hungry, or at least don't show your face before you eat, because when you're hungry, the Chazal say you're ready with two hearts. You're not going to put on your best face. There's a way that you choose to enter into your space of your home, that when you come home, you're happy to be home, and it's infectious. Everyone will feel happy at your home. If you come home and you're hungry because you need to eat something, or you're tired, you need to do something, figure it out before you come home. I don't know. Eat something before you come home. Take a snack before you come home. Make sure when you come home you're ready in a good state. And if you
So like keep a snack in the car.
exactly, keep a snack in the car. Very practical. You eat something and you come home. You're not crazy hungry. You're not and don't think you can control yourself. Maybe you can't. That's your thing. And if you're really tired, maybe take a nap also before you get to the house. You come into the house, you should be freilich. You should be happy. Shot. Exactly. Just come in happy. You should come in happy. And you have to understand that walking around with a morbid face and a sour face in your house, you suck all the energy out in the room, and everyone's going to start feeling this. And you have an achrayus, you have an obligation to make sure the house is a happy home, and do whatever you can. Someone said someone wrote the Tzemach Tzedek one a letter, said that he feels depressed, like he feels down. Someone said, sing happy songs, sing a happy niggin. Figure it out what makes you happy. Like, you can come into the place to be that the home and the relationship there should always be joy. Of course, it can be serious, and life is serious sometimes. But the underlying thing is that there's joy, there's humor, there's happiness in the home. That's an important thing. And then there has to be love, ava. What is love? What is ava? Love means that you carve out a space within yourself for the other, to hold the other. So love it's a type of giving that you're holding the other person's space. There's we've talked about this many times, but this idea of panim al panim, face-to-face relationship. If you're a husband or a wife or a spouse, wherever you are in this relationship, and there's a certain expectation of what you have to be doing in this relationship. Let's say you have to earn income, or you have to take out the garbage. I don't know what you have to do. You have to watch the kids. Whatever you're doing, whatever your job is, you can't expect to have a good relationship by just doing the things that you're doing. Because what people want is to have a face-to-face relationship. Face-to-face means I see you. I notice you. I take you seriously. Not that I do all the chores that you want me to do. Because a robot can do that also. You can get a machine to do that technically. But there's an underlying relationship that's there, that's manifest and reflected in the things that you do. But the things that you do is achar b'achar, is back to back. That's the things you're doing. You can't say, I'm a good husband because I do everything she needs for me as a husband. I provide and I take care of the children. I do everything, and you have a whole checklist that you do. And maybe you're right. Maybe you did everything, but if you didn't take 5 minutes to look at her, to have a upon relationship, to hold her, to like say, I take you seriously, and I'm present for you, then it's just nothing. Then it's not face to face. It's pano alayacher. It's when your face turns around. You can do the same thing. You can do ma'aseh mitzvahs with the same parallel with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with Hashem. You can do mitzvahs Hashem and you can do the actions, but if you're not having a face to face, there's no living relationship. Then it's almost meaningless. It has to be an outgrowth of a deeper relationship. And when the underlying foundation of a good marriage is this love and this attentiveness to be there, then even when you argue, and maybe you will argue, and probably you will argue, and it's probably healthy to argue, but it never becomes personal. So you can argue. If you have an idea, your spouse has an idea, and you should argue. That's the whole. A's are connected. There's someone against you correspondingly to you. That's the idea. That should be someone that's another voice, not just. I do whatever you say. That means nothing. That's not a face-to-face relationship. Face-to-face relationship means I have my opinion, you have an opinion, and we're going to together and figure out a third opinion. How are we going to make this work? So to take another person seriously, but never to take anything, but never to, in an argument, to do anything personal. It's important. The third element is the achva element, which is brotherhood. Achva means something that's connected. In Hebrew means something that's unified. We live in a generation that, for better or worse, probably for worse, we live in a throwaway generation, which means we don't have things, and the things that we have are all like temporary. We have plastic cups, and you have plastic forks. This is unheard of, years ago, and things are dispensable. You think like, okay, this is not going to work out. Okay, it breaks. I'll buy another one. You just go on Amazon and get something else. There's a certain sense that in our relationships that we think the same way. Where the moment something gets a little tough, the moment it gets a little hard, and relationships can be complicated. And certainly when you're raising children, there's a lot of issues, and it's complicated. You have to remember that the reason why you're with this person is because it's eternal. There's I don't want to say there's no way out, but in your mind you should think that there's no way out. That this is the person that I'm married to. This is the person that's my bashar. This is the person that's my soulmate. This is the person that I share a soul with. This is the person I can one flesh with, and I'm committed to this for life. That should be the mindset. Obviously, if there's extreme cases where there's abuse and other things, I understand. But I'm just saying that the mindset of people is the moment it gets a little bit, any issue, it's like, I can find someone else. I can go on to someone else. And if you have that in the back of your mind, you never really become committed to that person. When you look at your spouse and say, this is the person that I'm going to grow old with. Now it's my choice whether I'm going to grow old with this person in a happy way or in a miserable way. Once the Meiri writes that there's a bas kol v'tzoytza that says that the Gemara says in Soita that your first zivug, your real match is according to the bas kol, according to this heavenly voice, and the second one is l'fi ma'asav, according to your actions. So some of the commentaries say that it's not talking about first and second. It's never talking about first and second, by the way. It's talking about first and the mila. Obviously, you can marry you can bet a person that was not meant for you and the person that divorced, but that's in extreme cases. But I'm talking about in the marriage itself. It means that first and second, which means maybe originally Hashem put you two souls together because you're bashar. This is your soulmate. But after 10 years, it's l'fi ma'asav. After 10 years, the person that you're married to in the relationship, if you're both healthy, normal people, is a reflection of who you are. So it's your option. It's like if someone says you're taking off on a rocket ship till you're 120, alone with this person. What are you going to fight with this person? Or are you going to figure out the best possible way? How are you going to make your life work with this? Right? If that's your mindset, it's like, I'm going to invest in this relationship, so it should be meaningful to me that eventually, and eventually it will be now good, and it'll be always good. So that's the achva element of it, the element of the eternity, that we know that it's eternal, to know that it's forever, it's everlasting, that our commitment should be strong, that this is the person, that's it, this is the person I'm going to be with. So I need to commit myself, and I have to make myself the best possible person in order to be in this relationship in a healthy, good way. Shalom is peace. Peace is not the way most people think about what peace is, but peace is Oisa Shalom B'Mroimov. That peace is Michal v'Gavriel. Peace means a synthesis of opposites. Peace doesn't mean sameness. Peace means that there are different types, and the different types are coming together to coalesce into a third. And I think that's an important understanding in general, without getting into all the details, that there's men and there's women. Obviously, there's some men that have more masculine, some more feminine, but in general, there's men and women. And men and women are different. They're physiologically different, and they're psychologically built different. They need different things. So first of all, what a woman needs in a marriage and what a man needs in a marriage is a little bit different than each other. And when you're two people in a relationship, to recognize that what I need is not what she needs, and she needs is not what I need. So when you recognize that, that's an important element of peace, because sometimes you think, this is what I would want if I'm in this situation. This is what I would want. Classically, a woman likes to talk about issues. A man likes to find results about issues. Whatever. I don't want to go into all these definitions, but to think about that really, that there's like, what does the other spouse need in the relationship that's different than what I need, and to recognize that in terms of building a home, is that we're building this together, and we're both contributing to the home in a different way. I'm bringing this to the table, and this is my quality of the relation. This is the way I'm going to interact with the children. This is how I'm going to interact with my spouse. And the other understands that this is the way we're going to interact with the spouse, and we're going to do this collectively in harmony and peace, each recognizing that we're different, and we're not trying to create sameness. Especially when people are younger, you think like, why can't you think like me? No, I think like my way, and you think like your way. I like to do it this way, I like it that way, and together to try to feel some type of consensus to create an understanding, and to understand that this type of peace is not a competition, because a lot of times, especially when raising children, even with earning an income and things like that, it becomes a competition. You divide the chores, and you're always keeping score. You're saying like, I watched the baby for 8 hours, you only watch it for 6 hours, so you owe me 2 hours, or something like that. And you can all use your imagination in different cases like this. I think when it becomes a competition, it's not peace. And peace means like, yeah, maybe for you 6 hours is for me 5 hours. Maybe for me 5 hours is like for you 8 hours. I don't know. You have to know each other. Like in what capacity is you're giving as much as you can, but always try to give as much as you can, and never keep a score. That would be like a certainly a healthy element of peace. And reos is friendship. Friendship is, in very simple language, friendship is the person should be your friend, and to keep things light and fresh and humorous. Chazal talk about Sachak v'asa. There's like a type of joy that you have to bring, and Yitzchak and Rivka, there's a type of joy that Yitzchak has with Rivka, like just enjoying each other's company, to make time for each other, outside the home, or even take a walk, however you figure that out. It's already details, because ain't Dosh and Bayrais. I'm not going to give you exactly what to do, but to figure out time that you can spend together, that you can become friends. And I think that's what the Torah says. That's what the bracha is saying. This blessing is saying, is that if you have simcha, if you have joy, if you have ava, if you have love, if you have brotherhood, if you have connection, if you have peace, and if you have friendship, this will be a healthy foundation for healthy, God willing, relationships, and to raise healthy children. But two separate things, by the way. It's not synonymous. It's not have a healthy relationship and healthy children. There are two things. You have to have a healthy relationship and have healthy children. There's the role of a marriage is dual. It's not, you don't get married to have children. The Torah doesn't say that. The Torah says that Esla is a connect, that lo the man is not good to be alone. Let us create someone else. Hashem said, let me create someone else against man. Man meaning man and woman, because man at this time is both male and female. And then then they become one flesh, and they'll be blessed for children. There are two elements in the relationship. It's interesting that the Balakid actually talks about this in this week's parsha, last week's parsha, where it says, Rachel says that if I don't have children, I'm like dead. And the Balakid says that one of the reasons Yaakov was so upset is that he was saying that's not only the relationship of that's not only what you are there for. We also have something besides the children, and eventually the children are going to grow up. They're going to be healthy, good children, and they're going to grow up, and you're going to be alone again with this person. So there has to be, of course, you'll have children for your whole life. Once you have children, they're always there. But I'm talking about physically and how these are two separate things. To really build a healthy relationship is essential.
Thank you. There's a really special image of what life and marriage can be. That it's not very often that we find this type of a representation.
I hope that's not true. I hope
Well,
it's.
I
hope.
I'm sorry. I don't mean the representation.
You mean in the language?
Sorry. I mean more in what general media.
Right. No, that's true. Yeah. Well.
It's kind of saying what the Rav was mentioning with achava,
right.
Connection and commitment.
Correct.
Generally, what the
it's a feel good.
Yeah. It is kind of one of. No, who says that a relationship has to mean forever? It's when it's good, no, it's not.
Correct. That's the whole zeitgeist. That is a zeitgeist.
So this
nothing is permanent, and no relationships really mean anything. Also, you never get invested in anything.
Also, falling in love, falling out of love, meaning love is not a committed
thing
to them.
Yeah.
Just kind of,
exactly. You fall in and out.
The transient experience.
Yeah, love is like the Torah says that Yitzchak takes Rivka, and then he loves her. Like he commits to become in love. Like you marry someone for love. I don't even know what that means. But let's say you marry someone for love. What does that mean? Because you have a tingle in your stomach. Like what does it mean? Is it lust? What is it really? What is it actually? What is that real sensation? What are we really talking about? I think love means a deep connection with the other, that you're holding them real, and you have a face-to-face relationship with them, and that comes over time. That comes from a commitment that I am going to be committed to this person, to live this way, and therefore I'm going to love them and really choose to love them, and then love becomes real. And that's why the Torah describes love as a process that occurs in marriage. Now, of course, I'm not saying a person shouldn't marry someone if there's no netiyas halev. Of course, when you want to marry, when you want to find someone that you're going to settle down and this is going to be the person you're going to live with. There has to be a meshichas halev. There has to be some type of pulling of the heart for various reasons. If you share the same ideas, if you share the same, if it's even attraction, obviously these things are very important. But then there's the commitment, and that becomes the most important thing. You know, the mukudeshes is something that it's a sacred bond. It's a kedushin. It's a sacred bond.